Welcome to the Fight franchise and our new series where we will be doing previews and predictions of major fights going forward in the UFC, MMA and boxing. The first fight we'll be previewing is Jiri Prochazka taking on Alex Pereira at UFC 295 for light heavyweight gold. This is a very interesting fight as both men have a great chance at winning the title, but I believe one guy has the edge over the other and I'll break that down going forward. But before we get there, let's see how we got to this title fight. This fight has been boosted to the main event of UFC 295, which is the headliner of MSG, because Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones has fell through due to an injury to Jon Jones. But that being said, this is probably a more exciting main event, as I feel Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones, we all kind of had an idea of what was going to happen, which was Jon Jones winning and riding off into the sunset, which would be a cool thing to get next year, but it's not as interesting as this fight, as this was the people's main event. Now, light heavyweight has been a weird division for the past year or so. We've had injuries to Jiri Prochazka after his war with Glover Teixeira, where we thought he was going to be the next dominant champion since Jon Jones, but that fell through due to a shoulder injury, which has been quoted by the UFC doctors as the worst shoulder injury in UFC history. Then we got Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz for vacant light heavyweight gold, where that fight ended up a draw, which caused chaos in this division. Then after that, we got Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill for vacant light heavyweight gold, where Jamal Hill won in a great fight. And if you want, you can go watch our UFC 283 review at the start of the year, where we graded that pay-per-view, and you can check out our pay-per-view series where we grade all the pay-per-views. But that was a great fight where Jamal whitewashed Glover in a 5-round fight, which was competitive, but he whitewashed him. And that has meant Jamal Hill became champion, and we were already, okay, we've got a champion. We were just waiting for him to defend. He was waiting for Jiri to come back, but Jamal Hill has now got injured, which has caused more chaos in this division. Now the title is vacant. But luckily, we kind of got a title eliminator later on in the year. I think it was June, July time, where Alex Pereira took on Jan Blachowicz. Alex Pereira won a decision victory. It was a close fight, but he won the decision victory, which has set up this super fight between Alex Pereira and Jiri Prochazka, and I can't wait for this fight. It's an interesting fight, and if I load up kind of the stats here and kind of go through both guys' records and what they've done recently, Alex Pereira, MMA record, 8 wins, 2 losses. Jiri Prochazka, 29 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Jiri is billed on the UFC website as 6'3", but I feel like he's a bit tall. I feel like he's a bit 6'4", 6'5". Alex Pereira is built as 6'4", but I think he's 6'4", 6'5". Both fighting at 205 pounds. But the one thing to consider, Jiri is the bigger guy. He is a natural light heavyweight, whereas Alex Pereira was just fighting at middleweight. So a bit of a weird one there with the weight. So I think Jiri will be able to bully him, and if he wants to, use his wrestling. But I don't think this fight anyone's going to use their wrestling. I think if we're going to see it, it's going to be a stand and bang war on the feet. Reach, 79-inch reach for Alex Pereira, 80-inch reach for Jiri Prochazka, so matching in reach in that sense. And leg reach, 44-inch and 45-inch for Jiri Prochazka. Interesting stats. Alex Pereira is a kickboxer, as we all know. He's got some legendary wins in kickboxing and in glory. And we know his game. His game is to finish you on the feet and KO you on the feet. And if you can't do that, school you on the feet. And he's done that quite well, bar Israel Adesanya, of course. But he did win the first fight, but we'll get into that. Jiri Prochazka on the other side, he has one of the most awkward styles we've ever seen in MMA history. It's one of the most entertaining, but you cannot prepare for this guy. I don't think there's a sparring partner alive that can give you what Jiri Prochazka does. He's weird, he's unorthodox, throws spinning back fists, elbows, flying knees. Like, you just don't know what attack's going to come with him. So I think Alex Pereira has probably struggled to find someone to replicate Jiri, which is good for Jiri, as Alex Pereira may not be ready for this. But that being said, Jiri Prochazka, when we look into his recent record, let me just load this up, and Alex Pereira's recent record will kind of give us an indication of where both guys are at. We have to remember Jiri has been injured due to an injured shoulder, but the one thing he has got going for him, well, both guys have going for them. They have that serious KO power. Let's look at Yuri's recent record, because he's actually not even been in the UFC that long. He's only had 3 fights in the UFC and is one of the quickest fighters ever to become champion. He joined the UFC from Ryzen and then fought Volkan Ozdemir and got an absolutely legendary KO. But the one thing we need to remember, Volkan Ozdemir did rock him on the feet. When it came to his fight versus Dominic Reyes, same again, vicious KO, and one of the KOs of that year in 2021, Dominic Reyes rocked him on the feet. And then when it came to Glover Teixeira, a 5-round war, which he was going to lose on the judges' scorecard. It did seem going into that 5th round, but showed in the last minute he pulled it out the bag and submitted Glover in the last round. So Jiri Prochazka has shown his chin is susceptible to being hit and being get, but it can take a beating. But can it take a beating from that left hook of Alex Pereira? We just don't know. But that being said, if we look into Alex Pereira's recent record, very short UFC stint, joined in 2021, got that flying knee versus Andreas Michailidis, beat Bruno Silva in quite the lackluster decision, got that legendary KO of now middleweight champion Sean Strickland, beat Israel Adesanya in the first fight. Now, we're going to go over this first fight. He won fair and square in the 5th round. Was it an early stoppage? Maybe, but he won. He looked good, but Israel was showing that he had the kickboxing skill to kind of match Alex Pereira. But when Alex Pereira got in close and he did clip him, he did wobble him. But remember, in the first round against Izzy, Alex got rocked. And in the second fight against Izzy, which I think is a huge indicator of how I'm going to predict this fight, he got KO'd, and he got KO'd viciously. It was bad how Israel KO'd him. And it was crazy because Alex Pereira was looking good in that fight. He won the first round, and he was looking to win the second round as well, and then carelessly marched forward. And then Israel, with his slick striking, got him and shut his lights out. And he didn't just shut his lights out. He KO'd him stiff. He did come back, and we all had doubts that Jan Blachowicz was going to sleep him. Luckily, Alex Pereira got away scotch-free in that one. Jan Blachowicz is, I think, going past it, and he's slowing down a bit, and I think his time is up. I think it's time for fresh blood in the light heavyweight division, and Alex Pereira is that fresh blood. But if I'm going to predict this fight, right now the odds makers have it as such. Let me have a look for you now. The odds makers have it as such. It is Jiri Prochazka, the favourite, and Alex Pereira is the underdog. And that's how I would call it, because if I was going to predict this fight, I think it's going to be a fun fight regardless. I think they're going to go both trade on the feet. I just think Yuri's chin will hold up better than Alex Pereira's. I think Alex has that nuclear power to take him out, and Yuri's chin is gettable, but Jiri got rocked by Glover, who is a natural light heavyweight, and took those. He got rocked by Dominic Reyes. He took those. He got rocked by Volkan Ozdemir, who has KO power. We know that. That's why he's called No Time. He took those. He ate those. Alex Pereira has nuclear power, but I just don't think he's big enough, or he's had the time to build his frame up for light heavyweight where he can one-shot dead Jiri Prochazka. And if he does, credit to him, I actually want Alex Pereira to win. I prefer him over the two. I like both fighters, but if I wanted one guy to win, I'm picking Alex Pereira. He's just kind of a fan favourite for loads of guys, including myself. But I think this fight will go into the 3rd and 4th round, where Jiri, I think, has a better gas tank and he's naturally fit for the division, and he will finish and KO Alex Pereira in the 3rd or 4th round. And it hurts me to say that, but that's how I think this fight will go. I think Alex Pereira is he stands up very tall, and he's a very traditional striker. Jiri is not that. Jiri can come with a spinning back fist out of nowhere, an elbow out of nowhere, a flying knee out of nowhere. And Alex can do the same as well, but I just think he's got this gangly long frame where his defense isn't good as his offense. And that's the reason why I think Jiri will have enough to catch him. And also, physicality-wise, Jiri matches Pereira, which is, I think, a huge indication on why Jiri Prochazka, unfortunately, I have to predict, will beat Alex Pereira at UFC 295. That being said, I'm hyped for this main event. I think it's going to be one of the best fights of the year and a potential contender for fight of the year. Because right now we've got two, and I'm not going to spoil them because for future videos, but we've got two front runners for fight of the year, and they're both championship title fights. This could be one of them. And hopefully, going forward, no jinxing, we are going to have a healthy champion in the light heavyweight division, because this division since John Jones has left has been awful. It's one of the worst divisions in the UFC. Everyone knows it. Everyone thinks it. We always end up with these terrible fights where middleweights come up to compete at light heavyweight. So some heavyweights have gone down. Just we need a new era of light heavyweights, and I think we're getting that with these two guys and the guys coming forward who can put on some really fun fights. And hopefully Jamahal Hill will be back soon and face the winner of this. But like I said, the preview and prediction of UFC 295's main event, Jiri Prochazka, 4th round KO. We hope you've enjoyed this video and these new style of videos where we're going to do a bit more face cam and showing my face. Subscribe for more content coming soon. I'm hoping to upload more Fight Franchise content going forward. More previews, predictions, tier lists and stuff like that. But I will still be doing top 10s and those kind of videos that you've enjoyed. And I also want to try and do some more documentary style videos, like if you've ever seen our most popular video, The Rise and Fall of the Three Kings of the UFC. Maybe do a video praising Francis for his performance against Tyson Fury. But nonetheless, that's been my preview and prediction for UFC 295's main event, Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. And you should see an upload coming soon of the co-main event, which I can't wait for as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one, and subscribe for more content coming soon.